Today on the workbench I have a Proto 1000. This is a Budd RDC, and we are going to be putting a decoder in this. It's going to be an ESU V5 micro, and let's see, I'll more than likely upgrade the LED lights on it. I don't know if you can see in there right now, but there are no passengers inside. I'll probably go ahead and put some people in here and maybe an interior light or two. So let's go ahead and get this thing apart. We'll start by pulling the couplers off of it. Just remove the screws, and we'll upgrade the couplers to KDs. I'll flip this thing around. Pull that one out. Oh. So we've got our couplers off, pick up some pieces that flew away. Now I'm pretty sure what's got to happen is there's four screws up here around the front and rear trucks. That'll have to come out. Take this body off. So there's one. There's two. Flip this around. There's that one. So, oh yeah, that'll pull right apart. Good, nothing in the top. Everything is on this board. So, get some of this stuff out of the way. Alright, so we've got that apart. Of course, everything is made right onto the board. And I may use this. I may take everything off of it. Of course, I guess I could just make a piece of styrene, but why not use what you have? Because I'm going to completely take this board out. Of course, they've got it. Maybe I'll use it for, I'll leave the wiring where it goes into the wheels. So, we will get some use out of it though, I think. It looks like you can pull this whole piece out for the seats if you wanted to put some passengers in. So, and I am going to put some passengers in just because. All right. I'll get this small little drive shaft here. So, but anyway, we've got it apart. Yeah, I think our decoder will set right up on top here. Like I say, I'll remove all these resistors, and then we'll go from there. So, but the first thing I think I'm going to do, well, I think I'm going to glue some passengers into this, and then that way they'll be there, and then I can work on that everything else later. So Alright, I'll be back. Alright, we're back on our Proto 1000 RDC, and you can see I've put some people in there, both sides, so they're stuck in there pretty good. But we're going to go ahead and start putting our decoder in, and we're going to change out our lights. So this has got the old bulb in it, both front and rear. But I'm going to reuse this board. That's what I'm going to try and put everything on. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to end up taking all these components off of this board. And that'll give me a base for the speaker and the decoder. Because I'm going to put this, it's a ESU Loc Sound, the V5 Micro. Get it out of the package here. So that'll end up sitting somewhere in there. And you can see we're not much higher than that resistor right there. So the other thing that we've got for this is we've got our, get it out of the bag, and we measured for this a while back, our Scale Sound Systems speaker. So we'll be able to put that all in, and then we've got a TCS KA1 we're going to hook up to that. And to do that, we're going to have to take some of this heat shrink off of the decoder. Let me zoom in here some. We'll have to pull this heat shrink off, and then we'll go back to, let's see, it is these three tabs right here where we'll put our Keep Alive on this. So, but anyway, let's get started here, and I'm going to, actually what I'm going to do first is pull off these connectors off of the board where the factory wiring is, because we don't need those. I don't like those anyway. I'd rather solder everything up. So we'll get all those off, and then of course we can pull our wires out. It's going back through. Here's our lighting, which we're going to completely get rid of anyway, and for some reason it's stuck. Alright, let's see. Yeah, let me get the motor wires off. And I'm just looking to see how I can reutilize some of this stuff here, because I might be able to still use some of these connections. If we can, that would save me from running some wire. So let's take this apart. Okay. So now we've got this board. These are our motor connections here. Of course, track connections. So I'm just following these traces back and wondering, I could probably use, so we've got P1 and then P5 I could reuse. I know the one thing that I need to get rid of these diodes. So let me do that right now. Wrong set of cutters. I am going to get rid of all of this. And I'll have to go back over this with a soldering iron to smooth some of that down. Get rid of that. And I'll just go right up through these also. Okay. Now, like I said, I want to get rid of this. Let me move this out of the way. Move all of that. And let's see. Get my solder removal tool here. Turn the heat up a little bit. This is new. I haven't tried this out. There, I melted it to the really just pushing the pins through at this point. It's never as easy as I think it's going to be to remove solder. So I don't like this solder sucker, I don't think. Try get this up off of the workbench here. Nope. Wrong button. It does work. Just kind of takes a little bit to get used to it. So that didn't do too bad. I mean, that's for what it is. At least it's cleaned off now. I don't have a lot of solder left, a little bit. And I'm not reusing these, so I just want to get it cleaned off. So right there is our board. Got it all cleaned off. Down out of the way. I've still got a few little burrs on the back. Cut that off. I could have made a new one of these out of some styrene, but we'll just reuse this and that'll be fine. Alright, so there's that. Now, we can figure out where we're going to put things. actually, I'm going to pull that light out. We won't need that. I'll pull the front one off because we don't need it. Get rid of that tape. That gets rid of that. We'll have our board. We'll tuck these wires in because I'll put the body back on here in a second. That speaker is going to go right underneath that dome. It's perfect. So we'll have that right in there, give or take. Then we'll have our decoder. Let me get out my Keep Alive. And this is a KA1, so it'd be nice if I can put all of the components right in there. So let's try to tuck some of this wire in, and I'm just going to move it all in there so I can put the yeah, that'll work great. Yep. We'll set all of that stuff right in here. And I should be able to, let me move this Keep Alive. I am going to be able to reuse some of these pads. The P5 and the P1. Yeah, P1 and P5. Will feed the motor. So I'll be able to reuse my existing wires back where the motor mounts go, and I'll be able to use P1 and P5 to use for the gray and orange connections on the motor. Now I will cut this trace, that way we won't have to worry about that feeding anywhere. So yeah, this should be fairly simple. I'll be able to use the pickups again. That'll give me power. I'll have to cut the traces maybe, because I can use P4 and looks like P8. Yeah, I'll have to cut that trace. Yeah, we can reuse this board. Okay. Now cut the trace, I'm going to get my Dremel out, so I'll be back here in a second. Okay, got my Dremel out here. Move that body. So for our power pickups, let's go through, let me mark this where I want to cut it. We'll be able to use our power pickups, and we'll run this down through P4 is a pickup, and P8. If I'm going to put this, I need to cut P8 right in here, P8 to P1. I need to cut that. I think I'm going to cut P4 right there. Our motor, I'm going to cut, let's see, what am I going to cut for the motor pickup? I'm going to cut right there where that X is. So that's that. Our rear lights, I should be able to use those. I'll put another resistor in back here on these, and we'll figure that out in a minute. And we'll go ahead and cut these traces. That's that one. There's that one. And it doesn't take a whole lot. I think that's all I need to cut right there. And to check that, we'll get out our handy dandy meter. Okay, I can just barely hear that, but okay, so we're good there. We're good there. That's, I want that one. And I want that one. Okay. All right. So we are good on our pickups with our traces cut. Now, get this back out. We'll go ahead and put these motor wires back in. And this time, they'll be soldered. I think I'm going to have to do these one at a time, because if I don't, I'm just going to keep fighting them. So there's one. I haven't loaded the sound into this yet. I need to do that before I put the Keep Alive on. That. Go back here. We'll put our pickups in. Track pickups. So I guess in actuality, wouldn't have had to really taken the board up. So that's that. Well, we can put our front pickups back on. Try to dig them out. There's one. And two. Okay. There's our motor pickups, motor and track pickups all soldered in. Put that in the wire holder. Put a screw in there. Hold that down. Grabbed the wrong screw there. Yes, I did. Okay. So now, just studying a little bit here, what I want to do is mount this speaker. I'm going to mount it just about right over top of this gentleman here. So that's pretty well, that is centered. Yep. Well, get my Sharpie out here. That's where my speaker goes, back on this side. We'll center that in there. I'm going to get a little bit of alcohol here. Clean this off. I've got some flux up here that needs cleaned off. Clean off anything that's on the back of that speaker. I've got some double-sided tape. Get me a piece of that. And find my scissors. I'll cut that off. All right. Now I just got to get this started. Now before I go any farther, because that adds a little bit of height. Oh, perfect. Perfect. So we'll get that. Now I guess our next step I could put some lights in. Let's see, how are these? They just had a bulb. I'll probably use a 603 LED and glue it right to the light tube that's in here. But I think right now we'll go ahead and eliminate some things because I'm not going to use everything. We'll have to cut that for the keep alive. So I guess no time like the present. Of course, I do need to program this. I don't think I want to add any other lights. I don't think I do. So let's go ahead and cut this heat shrink off. At least part of the heat shrink anyway. So there's that. I'm going to unplug this. That is a plug. Cut some more of this off. So I've got that exposed as to what I need, and I'm going to go program the decoder, I think. That and take a little break. Okay, we're back here, and I've got some 603 warm white LEDs laid out, and these are going to install where the factory lights did. I'm debating. I don't know if I'll install that. Well, I guess let me try this. My original plan was to glue them onto the light tube there. So let me see if these will push out. And it'll be, oh yeah. Okay. So there's the light tube. And I can take, let's see, pull one of these lights over here. I could take and glue it to the back. Some of these I take and drill a hole in and stick it in there. But I'm going to take this LED. Let me get got some brand new super glue here. I've got to open up. And we're going to glue this right to that. And then we can just lay that wire right up on top of there. We'll do the same for the front light too. But what I'll do is just take and put a dab of glue right there. And then hold that for just a second. Hopefully it'll grab. Yep. I can always stick my fingers pretty well together. There, I've got it stuck to my finger. Let me sand that off just a little bit. Put some more glue on it. And we'll let that set up there for a minute. Hopefully I don't have it glued to my fingernail. Okay. Nope. Almost knocked that whole bottle over. Now, well, let me get the other one out. And I'm just taking a screwdriver and pushing on the lens right there. And that'll push that out. But I'm going to file that down just a little bit. Maybe that'll give that a little tooth. Something to grab a hold of. So we'll get that one out of the way. Touch that. So we go back and forth on the weather here. It's pouring the rain now in 1 minute, and then the wind's blowing to beat the band. I don't know if you can hear that or not. So now that we've got those made up, I'm going to get a piece of heat shrink. And I will have to put a resistor on that. I'll probably use a 470 ohm resistor. Let's see if this piece of... Okay, so that'll fit. pieces that size. And this will be easier than trying to use the light board for that. Let's see, I'll get my tweezers out, make sure that works. If I can pick the wire up. Yep, that one works. And that one works. All right. But we'll use the heat shrink to cut down on some bleed through. So this will take care of our lighting. There's one. There's our second one. Okay. Make sure I got my lid back on my glue. So that's all I need is to spill the glue. So now, go ahead and put this back in. Easier said than done. Okay. Now we'll put our other one in. I think I've got it wrestled in there now. Okay. Alright, so we're good to go with our lights. Now, I can get out the decoder, so I'll be back. It's still on the programmer. Okay, I've got the decoder out there. Let's see. Get this out of the way. Put the screws in this board. We won't have to worry about that. Just a little far back. Then we'll be able to do our finished wiring here. Wire the speaker, the keep alive, and the lights up. We'll be good to go. So I can put that wire back up there. Those just hold the wire up out of the way with the flywheel. So now, I need to look this up, see which pad is what on this decoder. I'll be back. Okay, the way this is wired, let me zoom in a little bit. This terminal here at the end of the screwdriver, that is the positive terminal, and this one out here is the negative terminal. So I'm going to cut my wires off just a little bit because we're going to have this all tucked up in here nice and neat. So I'm going to cut off a couple inches of wire. Get rid of that. We'll go ahead and strip this. Now, we'll get back to I'm just taking and tinning up my tip. We'll tin these two wires. So there's that. Now on the decoder, we're going to do the same thing. Just a little bit of flux there. Let me get this down here to where I'll hold it. There's one. And there's 2. I know that's hard to see, but that's what we have to work with. So now our ground, and I am going to trim that wire off just a little bit. In the same way up here on the positive side. Now I want to make sure I clean this tip off, get any excess solder off. Pull it up here a little bit. So there's the negative. And there's our positive. Okay. So we're good with that. I'll zoom back out. Then I'm going to take and cut. Actually, I'll take and just take these off of the board. That way I won't have to worry about them. I'm not going to use this purple. The brown are speakers. I'm not going to use the green wire. That's a different function. So I've got my yellow, white, red, and orange. Everything else I need. Okay. Can plug this back in. So there we're plugged back in. Now, what we want to do is set that over there. This we can set just about anywhere. I could have made that a little wires a little shorter, but so now what did I say was we're going to have, let's see, that's left pickup. P1 was our motor. Yeah. P1. Get my meter out here. And I'm going to make sure that, so P1 okay, I messed up, and what I did, I cut this P4 trace, and I shouldn't have. So now what I'll end up doing, I mean, I could still use the P8 if I wanted to, but what I'm going to do is we're going to mount this decoder right here. We're going to mount our Keep Alive, if I can get a hold of it, right beside of that. We'll run our wires back here to our track pickups. That'll pick up both sides. So that'll be our black and our red. So that won't be too bad. Yeah, that'll be fine, because that'll get us everything we need. Then I can run these around, put this speakers on them, and we'll be set. But let's kind of clean this board here where we're going to put everything. Same with the decoder and the Keep Alive. So get that on, and then we can hook our lights up. Let me get out some double-sided tape here. My shears are on the bottom, of course. So there's that piece. And then we've got that piece. Cut that off. And now pull our tape off. Every once in a while I want to try something and it doesn't work the way I want it to. That's what happened with this board. Here we got our tape moved. So there we have that mounted. Now let's take and we'll work on our speakers here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So we've got that all mounted. We're going to tin our speakers. If I can get the solder around. So there's that. I've got a lot of stuff here in my way. So I'll cut that one, and we'll put it on the negative side. So there's that one. Get the other one out. ESU does have a sound file for the RDC. I think they're 6-cylinder Detroits. And you can tell from the program that it is a Detroit. Okay, now okay, there's our speakers hooked up. Now we've got our gray motor wire, and I'm going to have to put a little bit of extra on that. Let me go to the red and the black for our track pickups. And these will just go right back here. Pull this over. So there's one. Get these out of the way. We'll get our red out. Move those. There's our track pickups. Let's see now. I always forget. I've done enough of these, you'd think I'd remember. White is forward. White is forward. And the yellow is the rear. And our blue is the common. But the thing we've got to do now is get our I don't have enough room to stretch that back that far. We've got to get our gray and our orange hooked up. So I'm going to have to add just a tiny piece of wire to that. Let's see. I hate to do that, but I'm going to. It won't hurt anything. Just going to go ahead and flux that, tin it, and then put it right on the so there's a piece of gray. Small piece of orange here. Do the same thing to the other side. I could have used those, I guess. No big deal. Okay. Now I can strip these and tin them, and then I can hook them up. I will say there is quite a bit of room in this thing. Let's see, heat shrink. Done there. Yep, oh, there it is. Well, I fluxed them, but I didn't tin them. After I get these on, I'll try it to see well, what happened to my tweezers? Try to see if I've got the right direction. Before I solder them up, or before I heat shrink them up. Okay, I've got everything out of the way there. I'll be be back in a second. Alright, I tried this out, and I do have it reversed. So let's move these wires around. And then we can get our heat shrink. There's that. There's that. Okay, so now we've got that. It does move. Now we're down to putting our lights on. I'm going to tuck some of this under here. So there's that. Turn it around. This way we won't have to worry about anything being out in the way. So we're ready to put our lights in, and our white is our forward. Let me take and I'm going to run that. Well, actually, that's good. That's all good. So this is our forward light, the white. And it'll go to the black. And we'll cut it off. That'll give me plenty for that. So we're down to our final connections here. Let's go ahead with that. Go ahead and tin this. Then we'll get some more heat shrink. shrink on. These are already tinned. So there's that one. My two reds I'll end up hooking together. For right now, I need my other black. And I can cut this off back here. I know my big old hand's in the way here. Trying to melt the wire off of that didn't work. There's that. Another piece of heat shrink. Okay, so we got that down over that. This now all we've got to do is connect our red wires together to the blue. Let me strip that off. Strip that one off a little more too. Should have hooked my red wires together before I did anything. There's that. Now I need some more heat shrink. I will say the one thing we won't have to worry about in this thing is space. Got plenty of space for everything. Just wish I'd have made that a little bigger. Trim that off a little bit. Oh, goodness. There we go. And we'll just get our heat shrink on. All right, so now we've got everything wired, and we can roll this over. And we shouldn't be able to see anything. We've got all of our wires in. I never put any interior lighting in it. I've got that one wire sticking down. Pull that back up. That wire I could see. It had fell down. And it's still down. I'm going to have to put a little bit of tape in that to keep that up there. So, where's my Kapton tape? Piece of that out. Scissors. Tweezers. There. That will not show. All right. We're all back together. Now I'm going to put the screws in it. I got to dig them out. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, we're back. And, well, I don't remember where I left off. It's been a little bit since I've been on this. Do have the headlights all done, and I did have it together, and I was getting ready to shoot the final, you know, set it up on the side there on the test track and let you see it. But I turned it on, and I never put any lights in the cabin here. And after I turned it on, put the shell on it and turned it on, I didn't like it. It was too dark in there. You couldn't see the passengers. So I've taken it back apart, and I'm going to put these I've got some of these, they're strips of LEDs. I've got like a 25-foot roll of them. But I want to try them. I've never tried this, and I think this will work good in this cabin. I can put it right on the underside of this board. It'll stick right to it. But when we first started this model, remember I took off the functions, the extra functions. So I'm going to go ahead and add one back in, and it's going to be this one here on this side. So just to compare it to another decoder, I'll zoom in here. Yeah, I'm going to use the green, and that'll give me my one function for this set of strip lights. So let's go ahead, and we'll go ahead and tin this green wire. So we'll get that. Okay. Clean that tip off. And we'll go ahead and solder this on. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and solder it. I'll solder it back this way. I may have to. Yeah. Okay. So there we've added our function back on. I'm going to pull down my magnifier. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I didn't have that over into the speaker. So that'll lay back that way. Now all we need to do, I'll tin this. I want to try these before I ever stick them on. So let's go ahead and flux this side up. And I'll have to cut into my common. So there's that. We'll go ahead and tin these up. Now this is a 12-volt light. I'm not sure what size resistor I'll have to put on this, so I'll probably start with a 470 just to try it. Let me go ahead and get this tinned up here. Nope, and I already, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to have to put a resistor in that. Yeah, let's hook it up straight and see what happens. I've got like 25 feet of this, so this will be a little experiment. Let's try it without the resistor on it. because it's got some resistors in line there. Let's see now. Pull that off. I don't know if it would be just as easy. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Cut my blue wire. Slide this back over here. Don't think. Yeah. Let me just cut that. Strip that off. Okay. Need another piece of wire. I'll just use a piece of gray that I've got here. Go ahead and flux this. Get that all tinned up. A little more solder on here. All right. Trying to get my other wire on the strip here, and I know you can't see that. Get it over there. Okay, there's that. Now, I'll go ahead and our function wire there. First, I want to put a piece of heat shrink. Get that other end. That. Now I might as well flux the other end, other side. Okay. So now I've got flux on my fingers. Now what I'm going to do before I solder all this together, I'm going to test this out just to see if it works. Actually, maybe I will just solder those. Solder this function together. That way I don't have to try and twist that all together. And I'll put my light function back on just in case. So there. All right, now I'm ready to test this thing. So I'll be back. All right, so I did go back and I tried this. They do work with the decoder, but don't hook them up just plain. You'll blow them. That's a given. But I wanted to try it, so yeah, that didn't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a resistor in here. And I'm going to start with a 2000 ohm resistor. And I've got that set up there. I'm going to go ahead and cut my function wire so that resistor will end up sitting on top of the board. So I'm going to cut that about right there. And I can go ahead. I've already got one out here and got it soldered up or fluxed and tinned. So we'll get that. I need to get that side. Get that. Okay, now before I go any farther, get a couple pieces of heat shrink. And we can put those on their respective wires. Get it all wired in. And I think I'll leave these loose just in case 2000 is not bright enough. Of course, this is just an interior light, so it really doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. So, that clean off. I should have tin this before I moved on, before I hooked it up. It's alright. There's that. So after we get this, all we'll have to do, I'll check it again, and then we'll stick that to the underside. So that's that. Now, now I'm going to go ahead and plug this back in. I've still got it sitting on the test track. So you can hear it there. Well, let's see what that does. That's function 6. Okay. So that works really good. Alright, now, we unplug that. Of course, it's got the Keep Alive in it, so that'll probably give me, about 8 seconds worth. So, let's go ahead and, while I'm thinking about it, use the heat shrink. That way we won't have to worry about them anymore. And I've got the piece up here on my commons. And you probably can't see that part. I need to move my camera around. Okay, so there's that. Let me pull this whole thing off. Move that, move that. I need to put the lights back up into the where they go. Alright, so now let's pull this board back off, and we can set this strip in there. And I think, well, I don't think I know that will set that off quite nicely with that in there. Now, so that's approximately where it sits. We'll put that in the middle. And you can cut these strips. So I could cut this and move it around a little bit if I needed to. But I don't really want to. I'm going to get out the alcohol. Clean this bottom of this board off. Okay. Close that up. Alright. These are just peel and stick. I say that and I'll have a heck of a time. Just like everything else. Now let me get my X-Acto knife out because I can't get that Can't get it started. All right. There's that. I need to trim the side of that down a little bit because it's hitting these solder joints, so I can, with a finer pair of shears, not sure what those are made out of. It's like a foil material. Just going down through and making sure that that's in there. And we'll have to do the same back here on this side. Cut a little bit. So it would be easier to do this if it wasn't on the model. But there, we got it. All right. Flip that over. Oh, that'll work well. That will work well. I do have another one of these to do, so maybe we can kind of streamline the process a little bit, have a little better order to things. So we'll get our final screw in. And I need to put the headlights in their respective sockets. These are really, really hard to see. So there's that one. And then we'll put our final one in. And I have painted the light pipes, put heat shrink on them and painted them. Okay. Now we just got to get it all back in. Make sure there's and there's stuff hanging down. One red wire there. Alright, I'm going to get this all back together and then we'll have it up on the side. Alright, we've got this thing put back together and we are ready to test it out here. So let's go ahead and run it through its starting sequence. And that's really all there is to that. So we'll ramp it up a little bit there. You can kind of hear it. You can definitely tell that that's a Detroit diesel. We'll keep ramping it up a little bit. Hear the compressor there. I've got the headlight on, and then we can turn our interior lights on. Not sure how well the camera picks that up. And those were strip lights that I put in that. So let me pull this around here to the side, or to the front. That way you can see the headlight. So it's really only got three functions. It's got the front and the rear headlights and the interior cab lights. But I do think it turned out really well. Had a few setbacks along the way there, but we got them taken care of. I've got another one of these to do, so the second one should be a lot easier to do. I mean, there's plenty of room for everything. You still see the lights there. Let me change direction. Pull it up to the other end. So I guess if you wanted to be, you know, really fancy with this, you could put some lights in the front and rear there where the doors are. Put some marker lights on it, so you can spruce this thing up really well. But this is all that the gentleman wanted for this. Nothing too fancy. It does sound really good. I've got this set down at about 75%. So it's not overpowering, and I don't want it to be. It's got nice bass. So, but we're going to call this one complete. It will ramp down. And it's got a quick shut off on it. So, thanks for watching.